I've only started to use this ThinkScan 689BT and have already saved at least several $100s. With this, I can do the diagnostic and maintenance work on the vehicles myself. For example, I was able to clear the SRS airbag light using this tool, so I didn't have to take it to a mechanic to diagnose and clear the codes. I am even able to access and change hidden settings for the car, like disabling the start-stop feature. Good stuff. Having one of these bidirectional diagnostic scan tools can be awesome if you are a serious DIY car enthusiast, or just someone who likes to work on your own cars and the cars of your friends and family. It can do a lot more than what these small OBD adapters like this can do. In this video, I show how I use the ThinkScan 689BT diagnostic scanner to save hundreds of dollars so far. I will also show what other useful features it has and go over what you need to know to decide if you should get one or not.
Frakking Creations, showing you the good stuff.
A quick note that ThinkCar sent me this unit for free to review, but these are my actual tests and opinions of the scan tool. Also, please pause to read the full disclaimer. To kick things off, we see that this ThinkScan 689BT has a very simple but easy to use UI. Along with the menus at the top, each page has functions you can select to use and an associated description so that you know what it does. AutoSearch, AutoVIN. The first feature set we will look at is the AutoSearch or AutoVIN function. The scan tool will scan the vehicle to quickly identify its VIN and list some of the common supported features for your vehicle. For this 2016 Mercedes, we see that it has some common special functions and also hidden modification features. For this 2006 Mitsubishi, there are no common special functions or hidden modifications features since it is a much older vehicle. Note that these are the quick to access common functions. We will take a look at these two first before digging into how to access and diagnose all of the control units in the vehicle, like the transmission control unit, SRS control unit, ABS, and more. Common special functions. The common special functions are things like oil maintenance reset, which will reset the oil change reminders you get. These reminders usually show up after driving a certain number of kilometers or after a certain number of days since the last oil change. One special function I use right away is the battery matching, which will register a new car battery to the battery management system when you replace the battery. Here, I use this function to register the new battery to the Mercedes so that the car's battery management system will properly charge the new battery. In newer vehicles, not doing this could damage the new battery. I actually bought this AGM battery, replaced it myself, and performed the battery matching with the ThinkScan 689BT. Getting this done at the dealership would have been over $500. The battery cost about $285, so I easily saved at least $200 here. Of course, this scan tool has a cost, but it has no subscriptions and a lifetime license, which includes updates. This is a one-time cost, and I can use it forever and on as many vehicles as I want to. The updates can even give you new functions and add more vehicle and feature coverage, all for free. For those that own a vehicle with a secure gateway, check the Before You Buy chapter of this video for more info on the additional license you will need. As you can see, there are many functions available and I've only touched the surface. Hidden modifications functions. If we go back out to the features listing, we can also take a look at the hidden modifications function. We can change things like enabling or disabling the start-stop feature of the car. This can be an annoying setting that manufacturers put in to meet emissions regulations. If you always turn this off when you use the car, it could be useful to be able to turn it off permanently. But be aware that turning this feature off permanently could make your car not road legal, so you take all the risks when doing this. Here's an important feature. Before you change the default value, you should back up the original value before changing it, so that you can restore it if needed. Here, apparently, I can even set a higher speed limiter on this vehicle, which I won't be doing. I won't be driving anywhere near that speed on public roads. It's cool that the 689BT can do all these things so far. If you're interested in buying one, I've included links below. When using any diagnostic tool with the capabilities of the 689BT, you will need to be careful about going around changing these settings because if you're not careful, you could end up bricking or damaging the control unit. that could be an expensive repair at the dealership. For example, some functions do something right away without needing you to change a value like this one. No chance to back out if you are just going around trying everything while not knowing what it does. So it's a good idea to make sure to research and understand these settings before going around changing things. All system diagnosis, test, and reset. Now we get to one of the more advanced features of the ThinkScan 689BT scan tool. Full systems diagnostic scans, active tests, and resets. This is where you go when you need to access any of the control units of the vehicle, like the engine control module, transmission control unit, ABS system, SRS airbag control unit, and more. You go here to scan for fault codes in any of the available control units, read the live data stream, and perform bi-directional actuation tests to really diagnose a problem logged in the control unit. You can even perform special functions and coding and more. Finally, if you fix a problem that causes fault codes, you can reset the fault codes. To get there, you have to select either the automatically search or the manually select option. The automatically search feature usually can detect the vehicle properly, and you will then select the enhanced version to get all the special functions. On some vehicles, this may not work and you will be asked to enter the VIN number. In this situation, I found it easier to just use the manual select. This could be happening because one of the vehicles is old. I'm not sure why the automatic search feature doesn't automatically enter the VIN number for you, since it already detected it. So this is one area for ThinkCar to improve. In the manual select option, you must properly select all the specifications for your make and model of vehicle. This is so that the scan tool can properly and correctly access all the control units. If you don't know the specs, no worries. Check on the B pillar of the vehicle or in the engine bay for a sticker or plate inscribed with this info. Once the vehicle is properly detected, the 689BT will be able to scan and list all the available control units. You can scan all control units to see if any of them have a fault. For me, I want to scan the SRS control unit to find out what is causing the SRS light. Pretty easy to do. I select the SRS control unit to access the list of available actions that can be performed. I select Read Fault Code to retrieve the codes. In here, I can read the active data streams to help diagnose the problem or bring up the details of the fault code. If I want, I can create a report too. Here, the fault code that interests me is B1477, voltage extraordinarily low. For me, because I do a lot of dashcam and car accessory installs and tests, I sometimes accidentally drain the battery too much to the point that it isn't able to start the vehicle. In these instances, the SRS control unit does not power up properly and causes these fault codes. The first time this happened, I actually had a mechanic shop clear the code for me for free because I was also getting other maintenance work done. Normally, this would be a $150 diagnosis and reset. For my case, it would be an expensive way to clear the fault code when there is nothing actually wrong with the SRS control unit. Note that any system with a fault should be diagnosed and fixed properly before clearing. If the issue is not fixed, the fault code will come right back. I select to clear fault code since the fault code was caused by low battery power and the battery has been fully charged now. I confirm and follow the instructions of the scan tool, and as expected, the SRS light is now off and stays off. By using the ThinkScan 689BT, I easily save time from having to book and go to a mechanic's shop and pay $150. I'm liking this already. In the future, I'm looking forward to using the 689BT to reset the oil change service reminder after I do my own oil changes with a fluid extractor like this. I will also use the scan tool to reset and replace brake pads and sensors, plus much more. OBD Fault Code Scanning. You can't talk about an OBD scan tool without talking about OBD fault codes. This is because most DIY car enthusiasts will have one of these small Bluetooth OBD scan tools. These are less costly, but most are only able to access the engine control module, so it won't be able to do the things I talked about earlier. Things like scanning all the other control units and doing all the diagnostic scans, active tests, coding, and resets. Naturally, the ThinkScan 689BT is also able to scan for OBD fault codes in the engine control module, and it does this quite fast too. Before you buy the ThinkScan 689BT, you probably already know from the product specs that this tool supports over 150 vehicle brands and something like 10,000 models, and supports many protocols including the newer CAN-FD and DOIP protocols that newer cars use. I've shown you the useful things the ThinkScan 689BT can do, so what else should you know before you buy one? If you want to see if your vehicle is supported for a specific diagnostic before you buy one, you can use ThinkCar's online coverage list. I'll include a link below. Most proper diagnostic scan tools that can do all the things the 689BT can do will usually have a subscription fee that you will have to pay annually. Not for this. You spend money to buy it once, and you have access to all its features forever. You also get lifetime updates for the vehicle software, maintenance functions, and app. I've had several updates already since I started using it. It's always good that a product is constantly and actively getting improved by the manufacturer through software updates. For those that have a vehicle from the FCA group that is 2018 or later, or from Renault that is 2021 or later, your vehicle will likely have a secure gateway installed that will prevent any regular, unlicensed scan tool from clearing codes, performing bidirectional diagnostic tests, and any ECU codings. The 689BT allows you to enter your pre-purchase license code or to buy one through ThinkCar to use and unlock these features. Additionally, the ThinkScan 689BT can work with add-on devices or modules that you can get to add functionality. For example, you can add a video scope to use for looking in tight spaces. Note that the modules do have to be ThinkCar branded ones in order to work. One important thing that might not get mentioned by other reviews is that when you perform these diagnostic tests and ECU codings, you should actually have the car in on state but with the engine turned off. This should be the case for most functions unless you are testing a moving mechanical part of the vehicle that needs the car turned on. What this means is that if your battery does not have enough charge, its voltage can drop too low and cause damage to the control unit during usage. Your car battery should actually be connected to a battery charger that has a supply mode feature that will make it behave like a proper power supply and provide at least 13 volts and 25 amps of power. Newer cars have a lot of control units, and vehicles like this Mercedes tend to draw more power and be sensitive to power fluctuations when diagnosing and coding. A sudden voltage drop could brick or damage your control unit. Chargers like this are not a good idea because they cannot provide enough amperage for instant spikes of power draw. So make sure your battery is fully charged and connected to a proper power supply before performing these diagnostic tests and ECU codings. If you are looking for a good bidirectional full system diagnostic scan tool, then the ThinkCar 689BT could be for you or your favorite car enthusiast. I've already saved several $100s with it and will continue to spend less as it gets used more. If you don't need all the fancy features of the 689BT, there are other options to help you spend less. The regular ThinkScan 689 is a lower priced non-wireless version with the same features. The ThinkScan 672 is an older model that has a smaller screen, less features, and no DOIP protocol support. Even this little ThinkDiag OBD scanner might be enough for your needs. Despite its size, it is actually a bidirectional diagnostic scan tool too. I'll include links below. Again, these other models have less features, so make sure to look for the features you need before buying. If you enjoyed the video, please like and share it with anyone else that would enjoy it too. Subscribe for more good stuff to come.